In a Victorian-era town that doesn't have a name, there's this guy named Victor Van Dort. His parents made their money from selling fish, and on the other side, there's this girl named Victoria Everglot. Her family used to be rich, but now they're broke, so they're supposed to get married to fix things. You know, make Victor's family classy and bring back the cash for Victoria's family. At first, Victor and Victoria are all jittery about the whole thing, but then they meet and boom, love hits them right there. It's like they're meant to be. But guess what? On the wedding practice day, Victor messes it up big time. He forgets what he's supposed to say and even manages to set Lady Everglot's dress on fire. Talk about a disaster. Victor freaks out and runs off to a forest nearby. In the forest, he's talking to a tree of all things, practicing his vows like he's gone crazy. He even puts a wedding ring on a random tree root. Like, who does that? But then, get this. The root he put the ring on? It's actually a creepy old finger bone from this dead girl named Emily. And guess what? She's wearing a wedding dress. She pops out from the grave, all ghostly and stuff, and she's like, "Hey, I'm your new wife now." And just like that, she whisks Victor away to this place called the Land of the Dead. So, while he's hanging out with Emily, Victor finds out some seriously messed up stuff. Like, she got unalived ages ago on the night she was supposed to run away with her fiancé. And guess what he did? He killed her and stole all the fancy family jewels and gold she had brought with her. Talk about betrayal, right? Anyway, Emily introduces Victor to his old dead dog named Scraps, and they become buddies or something. So, Victor is really missing Victoria and wants to go back to the land of the living, right? He comes up with this sneaky plan and tricks Emily into taking him back there. He's all like, "Oh, you gotta meet my parents," and stuff. Emily falls for it and takes him to this elder gut-necked dude who's like the nice boss of the underworld. And guess what? This guy lets Victor and Emily go back, but just for a little while. Back in the land of the living, Victor finally meets up with Victoria again. He spills the beans and tells her he's dying to marry her, like, right away. They're about to have this big romantic moment, maybe a kiss or something. But guess what ruins it? Yep, Emily shows up out of nowhere. She's all hurt and angry because she thought she had something special with Victor. So she grabs him and drags him back to the land of the dead, totally wrecking the moment. So Victoria tries to spill the beans to her parents about Victor's crazy situation, but no one believes her. They're all like, "Nah, he dumped you, girl, you're losing it." And get this, against her wishes, her folks decide to hook her up with this Lord Barkis Bittern dude. He showed up out of nowhere, acting all fancy and rich during the wedding practice. After making up with Emily, Victor gets the scoop on Victoria's upcoming forced marriage to this Barkis guy from his dead coachman, Mayhem. Victor's all torn up about it and decides to do something wild. He wants to marry Emily for real this time, which means he has to say those "I do" things all over again in the land of the living. But here's the kicker. They also have to sip the wine of ages, which is basically death juice, so they can kick the bucket together. Crazy, right? The dead folks get their act together real quick for the ceremony and make their way upstairs. When they show up in town, it's like total chaos for a bit. People freak out because, dead people just strolled in. But hold up. As soon as the living see their lost loved ones, it's like a big old reunion full of hugs and happiness. All this craziness makes Barkis, that wannabe rich dude, totally lose it. He starts blabbing about how he's actually broke and just wants to marry Victoria for her dough. Well, Victoria's having none of that nonsense. She's like, "Bye, loser," and gives him the boot. So Victoria's watching this whole scene go down. Victor's doing his wedding vows again with Emily, and he's all set to gulp down the poison. But guess what? Emily suddenly has this light bulb moment and realizes she's kind of ruining Victoria's shot at happiness. So she stops Victor just in time. Right when Emily brings Victor and Victoria back together, here comes Barkis, the bad guy, swooping in to snatch Victoria. But hold up, Emily's no pushover. She sees Barkis and is like, "Wait a minute, I know you." She figures out that he was her old fiancé and the jerk who offed her. So Victor's had enough and decides to stand up to Barkis. They have this intense showdown, and just when things are getting heated, Emily steps in like a total boss to save Victor. Barkis is all smug and raises his glass to Emily, but guess what? He accidentally toasts with the poison and drops dead right then and there. And that's when the tables turn. The dead folks, who aren't supposed to mess with the living, get their revenge on Barkis for his wicked deeds. Now that Emily's finally got some peace, she tells Victor he's off the hook from that whole marriage vow thing. She hands back his ring and gives him the green light to marry Victoria. Then get this, she steps into the moonlight, and boom! She turns into a bunch of butterflies. They take off into the sky while Victor and Victoria have this sweet moment. If the tale of the corpse bride left you amazed, share the love by giving that like button a good smash. For more updates packed with excitement, pulse-pounding movie recaps, and captivating content, make sure to hit the subscribe button and activate those notifications.